Hi, everyone. My name is Jesse Robbins, and welcome to LPLE from Dialogue FM. We're the podcast that lets you practice listening in English. We speak English slowly and clearly so that you can follow along and understand native English speakers more easily. I'm excited to help you improve your English listening skill, as well as help you learn new vocabulary, grammar, and idioms commonly heard in conversations among native English speakers. If you want to practice listening in English, then we invite you to join our conversation. Hi, Jane.
Hi, Jesse.
One of the things I find interesting and very useful when learning another language is learning how to order food at a restaurant.
Yes, and it's not as simple as it may seem.
Right. Now, the thing is, it could be made simple if you learn one phrase. That's sometimes all we're looking for. For example, when we ask our friends who speak another language to teach us something, we usually ask, tell me how to say this. We look for the structure, and then we just try to change a word.
That's true. That's true. Sometimes it works better if you ask a native than, for example, again, in a basic English textbook, you might have something like this. The waitress comes to the table. What would you like to eat? And because it's not a very advanced lesson, the character said, I want, or I would like 2 eggs and a glass of milk, for example. Because I'd like and I want are the focus of the lesson. But the problem is that we don't say that in restaurants. So you're right. Sometimes it's just best to ask a native what the right words are.
In this conversation, I'd like to talk about all of the different ways that we can order food at a restaurant. We can start from the very polite words and phrases and then work our way down to the more informal and perhaps direct, maybe even rude ways to say it.
Okay.
Right. So the first one that I think of, and actually, you know what? Let's role play.
Okay.
Yeah. So you'll be the waitstaff, and then I could order.
Okay. Do you want me to be at McDonald's or in a formal restaurant?
You know, that's a great question. Both of those places are different. Very, very different. However, in my opinion, I order food at McDonald's the exact same way. I show the same level of politeness. So let's assume any restaurant.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Hello.
What can I do for you?
Yes, thank you. May I please have a breakfast of your pancakes and eggs?
Sure. Anything to drink with that?
Yes, may I have a cup of coffee?
Did you want cream with that?
Yes, may I have 2 creams, please?
2 creams. And the sugar's on the table.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you. So, thank you. And we'll flip it. The next time I get to be the waitstaff too, we'll go back and forth. In that situation, that was what I think of as being very polite. May I please have X and Y? And then after,
instead of please give me.
Right.
Or I want.
Exactly. And those are, when you mention that, I hear those ways to say it a lot from students studying the English language. So, may I please have X and Y? May I have X and Y? Are, I think, the two most polite ways to say it.
I agree. I find that I often say, could I have? Perhaps because the could is conditional, it's not a demand. So I know that I feel quite comfortable saying, could I have, or may I have, and I feel that both of them are quite polite.
Let's try it. I'll be the wait staff. You be the customer.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you. What would you like for breakfast today?
Let's see. Can you tell me what is on the special?
Yes. Today's special is 2 pancakes, 2 eggs, and 2 sausages with 1 cup of coffee.
Could I get tea instead of coffee by any chance?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. And could I get those eggs scrambled?
Certainly. Scrambled eggs, yes.
Okay. So, thank you. I think I'd like to have the special.
Sounds good. Thank you. So, Jane, in that situation, that sounded very polite and also very natural and very comfortable. Right?
Although in the end, I think I said, I think I'll have. In general, I noticed that it's about I rather than you give me. Sometimes we can do that, but it really depends on the tone of voice and the situation.
Again, everything comes down to context and situation. Yeah.
Indeed.
Let's do another one. So another way to ask for something is to say, can I get? I hear that often. Now, I rarely use this when I go out. However, there's one cafe in Seattle that I always go to, and I know everyone who works there. They know my name, and I know their name. So, it's very casual and very relaxed. So, in that situation, I don't feel the need to be overly polite. So let's try this. I'll share with you how I use can I get.
Hey, Jesse, good to see you.
Hi, it's good to see you too, Jane. How are you?
Fine. What'll it be today?
Can I get a tall cup of your drip coffee, please?
Sure you can. Hey, I forgot. You like decaf or regular?
That's right. Let me get a decaf today.
Okay. And room for cream, right?
Yes, about half an inch.
Okay. You got it.
Thanks. So, Jane, that's perfect. That is exactly how my conversations with the cafe staff goes all the time. Yeah. And it didn't sound rude, did it? I hope not.
No, it just sounded friendly. And again, you didn't say give me. Although you, with the right tone of voice, you could say, could you give me? But in general, you're always safer if you say, could I have? It's just better, period.
Yeah, exactly. So to recap, if you're thinking of learning how to improve your English language skills and your listening skills, when you listen to this, I would like for you to try ordering coffee or food using the different ways that we described. So what did we talk about today?
Your preferred, most polite one is may I have or may I please have. Could I please have is also very correct. Even can I please have. The idea of asking using can I, may I, could I is really the best way to go, with may I being at the top. Then may I have, and that's about it. May I have, or could I get is possible also.
Exactly. I think if the situation is more casual and friendly, it's okay to say, can I get, or let me get, or let me have. However, and I feel that in those situations, you should probably know the person and be very friendly with them. Otherwise, it could sound very rude.
I completely agree, and I always feel that when I'm a foreigner using a language that even I know well, I still am very careful to stick to what I know as being formally polite, because even though I know there are other ways, I know that I could make a tiny mistake, maybe with my intonation, or I might not have the right facial expression, and I could make a mistake. So if you have any doubt, just use the most formal way. Even if you have heard other people use other ways, just be careful, because even the intonation, the tone of voice can ruin something.
On that point, before we close today's episode, I'm curious. Many international students who learn English in America, I believe, like to learn how to speak like a native, and they see the polite way of speaking to be very uncool or unnatural. Is that the case, do you think?
Too formal, etc. I agree with you. I think that happens, and I remember myself being a person who was majoring in French language, and I spoke fluently. But when I was in my early 20s and moved to France, I felt that way. I wanted to use all the slang. We've talked about this before. I wanted to fit in completely. And occasionally people would laugh because I got something wrong. And that was okay. And I do believe that foreigners are forgiven more easily. Nevertheless, I think you have to be very careful. It's better to be formal, because there are so many mistakes you could make that you don't even know exist. So I recommend being more formal, unless it's somebody exactly your age, exactly your same situation, you've become friends, then that's different. But if there's any doubt, I think you should stay formal. Do you agree?
I 100% agree. That's fantastic advice. Thank you for listening to this episode of LPLE. Let's practice listening in English from Dialogue FM. Subscribe to LPLE on iTunes to hear the latest episodes, or listen to past episodes on our website, dialogue.fm. That's dialog.fm. If you have questions or comments about English, or if you would like for us to use a word, grammar, or idiom in our conversation so you can learn how to use it correctly, we would love to hear from you on Twitter at dialogue.fm or Facebook at facebook.com/dialoguefm.